West Michigan Motorsports, hurrah!
West Michigan Motorsports! Hoorah!
Okay, on to the 350X. I'm starting to tear apart the rear end, figure out what's wobbling in this thing. So I'm figuring it was the bearings, but I replaced these bearings last year. They are Honda bearings too. But, and just so you know, these are tight, so the carrier is tight inside it. So let's try to move it. We got some wobbling going. So my guess is gonna be that the axle is whooped out. I've been meaning to get a new axle for this thing. Being that the splines for the hubs are starting to wear out. I mean, they're not terrible. If you crank them down hard enough, they don't move. I think it's this one that's maybe a little loose. Yeah, you see that one. Common issue with three-wheelers with these axles and quads and everything. That one's got a little bit of but this axle, when I first got it, I noticed that this was probably seized on the axle at one point. So someone probably cut it off and grinded the axle. Look how chewed up it is right there. And you see there's the grind mark right there. Someone grinded into the axle. That kind of worried me, but I was like, you know, it's not terrible. But you can see how whooped out it is. I mean, like the groove for the snap ring's not even there in that spot. So I was hoping not to replace the axle. Axles are not cheap for 85 350Xs. If you guys know, they do not make aftermarket replacements for a 1985 350X. Probably because in '86 they went to a different carrier design, and that's closer to like the 300EX axle and the 400EX axles and whatnot. So it's easier to come by for an 86, but 85s just have that old design. So I'm gonna I think it's time to swap the rear axle out. So I'm gonna start looking on eBay and see if I can find an axle. Okay, some more updates on the Big Red. I haven't really been doing a lot of time-lapse stuff because I want to get these videos out for you guys as soon as possible and before Preston's event. And editing takes a lot of time, and I don't have a lot of time to edit. So we'll start with the front end. So I have that new Polysport boot from 223 Cycles mounted on there, and you can tell the difference between the cheap eBay boot to these boots that Curdy sells, and these are really close looking to the OEM fork boots that go on these machines. Got the tank off because I had to get to routing some brake cables and whatnot, plus just to kind of clean everything up. That's kind of like an old school trick. If you just take simple green and just spray it on anything rubber and just let it sit. Some guys like to kind of like, you know, rub it in a little bit to get inside the rubber. But I've noticed if you just spray it on there like a couple times a day and let it soak into it, it actually makes it softer. I'm draining out the diff fluid and be putting some new stuff in. I've used this stuff. I got this bottle from my dad. Been using it for years. It's Bel-Ray Gear Saver, because these diffs, you might be able to see it. Let's see, it says use SAE 80 high-point gear oil, but a lot of guys will just use, you know, this SAE 80W90, like the Lucas stuff, which will work. But this stuff is literally pretty much meant for off-road vehicles, and it's high point as well. So we already kind of covered the 350X. Figured out the axle is shot, rear end shot. I ended up ordering all the parts, did a bunch of research, and I'm running with the 300EX axle and hub and everything else for it. I was figuring it out that the stock 300EX axle with the hubs are actually shorter in width than a stock 350X axle and hubs. But I think with my wide tires, or my offset wider tires, that'll help correct it a little bit. That stuff shouldn't take too long. I've done rear ends so many times on quads and three-wheelers, it's nuts. So I'm pretty much used to that kind of stuff. But we're getting somewhere. We got 20 some odd days till Preston's event, and I think we'll definitely be ready. All right, finished a few things up. I got both fork boots on. I got the headlight off just so I can remember to clean and tidy these wires up. I did spray some Simple Green on the wires. They're really dry and whatnot, but I sprayed Simple Green on the whole entire thing pretty much. Mainly like all the rubber, plastic stuff. Let it all soak in kinda. It is humid, so it's not gonna dry up terribly quick. All right, updates. We got some goodies in the mail. The new rear carrier for the 350X showed up. 300EX carrier. Looks pretty nice. I do like how the greaser's like built in on the side right there. Like most of the time, you either gotta drill a hole in the carrier right there and tap in a grease zerk, or like I've seen it as well on different models. I've done it before where you put a grease zerk somewhere in the carrier on the swing arm there to inject grease into there. But I do like how it's on the side. I've never had a carrier like that. The 40 tooth. I've had good luck with JT sprockets. I usually run Sunstar, but I've had pretty good luck with JT. Brand new 40 tooth, same number of teeth as the stock sprocket, which I'm running. I run the stock sprockets on my 350X. I've had pretty decent luck with it. I know some guys like to mess around with different numbers of teeth on the sprockets, but I like the stock number on them. And our sponsor, Bruce, hooked us up for the Big Red with some brand new reproduction decals for the side covers. So here are the original side covers for it. As you can see, the decals are original and worn out. That one says G Red on it. So we're gonna put some brand new reproduction decals from Blue Line Graphics, bluelinedecals.com. And I mean, once you peel like the protective coating on it, I mean, these things look dead nuts on. We do have a couple more of your decals on, of Blue Line Graphics decals. Like this is a Blue Line Graphics decal, as well as the one on the trunk right there, and the warning on the trunk lid. And I just got word that this coming weekend, it's Monday right now, my grandpa's gonna be in town this weekend. We're having a birthday party for my daughter this weekend, and he's coming in town for it. And if he comes, I probably should get the Big Red done in time for him to see it. So we're planning on him seeing it after Preston's event when we bring it back up north to him, but he's gonna see it all done this weekend. So time crunch. She's back on all three wheels. And I was kind of skeptical at first about how these wheels were gonna look on it, and they don't look that bad. The Carlisle knobbies that were on it before were a little bit like shorter and fatter, maybe even a little taller, I think, but I think they're the same height. But you know, I don't mind the tread pattern on it. I see a lot of three-wheelers with these tread pattern designs. I don't mind it because, you know, it still has the knobbies on the sides, and it's got like that agricultural track pattern on the middle, and that will help get a little bit more better grip out in the woods and whatnot. I drained the oil, so we're in the process of an oil change right now. I have the new key ignition on there. I got done plastic welding the plastic piece or part of the fenders above the mud flap that was kind of hanging there, so that's all strengthened up, ready to go. What do we have next? I have to put the fuel petcock onto the gas tank, then we can mount the gas tank back on. We have to get the decals onto the side covers, and I think that's it for the Big Red. We'll clean it up a little bit and it's done. It's pretty exciting getting this thing done. Coming at it, I was kind of like, oh crap, it's gonna need a lot of work, but honestly, this thing cleaned up pretty dang good for how many years it's sat and just got dirty and neglected pretty much. You know, never got a legit power wash or cleaning at all. If you guys seen the previous video, I power washed this thing, and it's probably the first power wash it's ever had in its entirety. It's only been pretty much washed off by rain, snow, and a regular water hose. But just like the motor and everything cleaned up pretty good. It's like I said, we're not fixing everything on it, just what pretty much needs to be fixed. And now, this thing. We got all the parts for it. So I've been kind of giving some updates about all the parts that we got for it. So here's everything that we need for the rear end. I mean, pretty close to everything we need. Yeah, we got the axle in with the hubs. Honda OEM 300EX. And I did measure the width distance between a stock 350X axle and 300EX. So let's go ahead and measure. Basically, we're gonna go from edge of the hub to edge of the hub here. So we got about 33 and 3/8 pretty much. 31 and a half. I'm not too worried about it because my 400EX wheels are wider than the stock wheels. So I think that's gonna help cover it. So I'm not too worried about the width. And honestly, the way it was set up with the OEM axle and those wheels is they did sit pretty far out from the plastics and whatnot. So I'm not too worried about it. And keep this in mind, if you guys are running a 300EX axle, you need to get the sprocket adapter from Lewis Milky, and very good quality part here. It's basically going to be sitting, this is the hub for the rear sprocket. I'll show you guys why you need that spacer. So as you can see with this hub, it's pretty dang skinny, right? The stock axle and the hub for it has a big space to it, and that's where the sprocket sits on the end of it. So relatively, if you ran just the sprocket onto this hub, you're not gonna have that space out for the sprocket. So it's gonna sit, the whole chain is gonna be sitting crooked, and that's not what you want. So you gotta have the spacer on, and then you put the sprocket next to it, so that helps offset it. That rear end is ready to be put on the 350. But first, we're gonna get to the big red and finish that up quick. All right, you guys wanna see what a gas tank looks like where you keep gas in all the time for years? I have never seen a gas tank this freaking clean and non-rusted. Wow. All right, so we're pretty much completed with the big red build. We have the man who gave me life, my dad here, helping me a little bit, getting some things done. He helped put the new decals from Blue Line Graphics on here on the side covers, and they look freaking awesome. Some new rubber grommets there for the side covers. I got some tank putty there kind of just sitting right now to harden up. Hopefully it stops leaking gas there, we'll see. And did an oil change, and now we're gonna start it up and get it off the table. And this sucker is pretty much ready to go besides some final cleaning and everything. Okay, so the time has come. We have Papa here. He's the one that got the Big Red, brand new, December of 1984. And it's all finished up, and he's here to see what it looks like. And we'll get his reaction. This is probably the cleanest you've seen it since almost 40 years ago. So obviously you can see we put new tires on it because the old ones were dry rotted and cracked. There's a scratch there, yep. So we did the things that he told you that we did. So it's got a new fuel petcock on it. And I did bend it out like you told him it was going into there. Yeah. So we put a new key ignition with new keys because I noticed the old one, you'd turn it and the light wouldn't come on and it wouldn't start. Yeah. So
you didn't turn it the right way though.
Yes. So it's got that key and it's got a spare with it too.
Oh.
So and the spare's in the trunk. I did not mess with the levers. The levers are all the same. The plan was just to fix basically what it needed to be fixed. So mostly everything is still like it was.
That was my patent right there.
Yeah, I know, that's your patent. That's why we're keeping it, because we're keeping it, everything, like all the dents and everything that's been fixed and broken on it, it tells a story. So that's why we wanted to keep it like that. All right, we changed out the rear diff fluid. It's got new rear diff fluid. It's got oil change, a new oil filter. I know you probably just did the diff, but I got some new fluid in there.
I got a brand new bowl in my drawer. We should have put that video on there.
Should have. That one's been on there for years though. It's got all new brakes. There's all new brake cables, all new brake shoes. The side covers, we have a sponsor, a decal guy that he did a lot of my decals for my 350X. And we got brand new, these are the original side covers, but we got new decals on them. So we put different fork boots on. Yeah. So these are from my guy at 223 Cycle, my carburetor guy. He sells these on his website. They are exact like copies of what the original boots look like. Like I said, so I know you liked the knobby tires on it. Pretty much every tire that you're gonna put on is gonna, put a little bit of divots and stuff in the grass, but these still have the knobbies on the side where it's got like the agricultural tread design on it. I rode around the yard and it doesn't do too much damage, but the tires that were on it were at least 15 years or so old. I remember when you and I went and got those tires put on from those other ones. These will help him get some more grip in snow and stuff in the woods, but
it was fun getting stuck though.
I know. The Big Red never got stuck though. Just kind of pretty much cleaned it up. Also, I noticed that bolt was missing and that bolt was missing. Really? The muffler for I don't know how many years was only held on by this bottom bolt. So this one was actually broken off, so I drilled it out and put a new bolt in there. And that was missing, so I got one in there. Took the cord out of the headlight and cleaned the cord up, organized, put it in the little thing. I'm pretty sure that's still probably the original headlight bulb.
It is. Yep.
Yeah, Pops, like I said, we didn't do anything else. We just did what needed to be done. Making her live for another 40 years,
Absolutely.
You still remember when you got this thing brand new?
You're damn right.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's been almost 40 years, huh? Yeah. And it's like what some other guys have been saying. It's like, this is like part of the family. This Big Red is. And let me show you this too. I made this picture collage. So I gotta organize the pictures still, but there's some of the pictures I found in her box of old pictures. So this is, from what I know, the earliest dated photo of February of 1985.
Yep. Trees were all in front. Yep. Just not too long ago.
I'm pretty sure that's Mom. I don't know if that's you or George.
I don't know, probably.
But it looks like the tractor broke down. You got Big Red to pull it out.
Yeah, yeah.
And then this was 1987 with Dennis and Philip.
Yeah.
With the original tires on it. The original Otsu tires on it. And
She should be good for the next 30 years for you.
And I did not do anything with the gas cap. You still had to crack it and leave it halfway. I did not mess with the choke cable. The choke cable's still the same. You know, the way you have it rigged with the hose clamp, that's how it, we kept everything the same of what you're used to, so you can go up and start it like how you always do. What do you think?
That's cool.
Cool? You happy with it?
Boy,
That's why I was saying, this is crazy how this is the farthest away from home it's ever been.
that's right.
Philip only took it to the bay a couple years ago and away from home. And now it's going over to New York. And it's gonna be cool. Everyone's psyched to see. That's why I tell all my fans and all my friends and whatnot that this is the machine that got me started and everyone else into off-roading and stuff. If it weren't for this thing, then I wouldn't be at that point, you know, with all of it. Right, Boo? There he goes, riding his big red. Showing off. That's funny. It's weird seeing him ride this big red, not on the back 40 up north. He's showing off a little bit, hitting the gas. That's funny. The old big red.
He wants a three-wheeler. No.
What's she doing? Oh, she got Papa's pants. Hi, Boom Boom. I saw you went for a ride on the Boom Boom. Oh, bye. Did you turn it off? You're all done. Did you go for a ride? What did you see? Huh? Does he? I see one three-wheeler. And now we are going to go on the trail with the three-wheeler. Oh crap, I have to get the key. Hold on. Okay, now I'm back with the key. And we're going to the three-wheeler. It's a big red Honda. That's what it looks like. Oh yeah.
Alrighty, the 350 is back on three wheels. Looking pretty good. I got the rear end all put back together. Again, no time lapse, just trying to make some short, quick videos for you guys. Look at that shiny new axle, parts and everything. Looks pretty dang good. Shiniest things on the whole machine. I'll show you what it looks like with my tires back on it. I can tell I lost a little bit of width in the rear, but not a whole lot. With the wider tires, it does help it with the stance and the width. It's not too terrible. Andy Drew.
Hello.
What do you got here? You got a little three-wheeler, huh? Little trike.
Found it on the side of the road.
Oh.
Yep. $15.
$15. Wow. What a you paid way too much for that.
Times 885.
Hey,
Oh, times plus.
are you ready for vintage Wheeler Palooza at Preston's? I'm wearing my Preston sandals, the old reefs, certified by Mr. Fraser himself. He even has a bottle opener on the bottom.
Does it really?
You know, it's not a Preston event without Preston sandals, you know. All right, well, Gino's not going, but I want to play a game. I want to play a game with you. This is kind of like Where's Waldo. I want you to find a Mini Trail 70 in here.
What the? Oh, I found it. Goodness.
How packed
dude.
is this,
Hey,
huh?
you still got room, dude. You got half the
Yeah,
trailer.
we got up to the ceiling.
Yeah, you got half the trailer.
We still got
you
some
got
room.
4 more machines in here.
We can
dog.
hang things up in the ceiling. Give me a big old hurrah.
West Michigan Motorsports.
Hoorah!